Welcome back inside the Now Morning Show. Yesterday is Tobago Thursdays, and we're going to talk about how Tobago is developing into the 22nd century, 21st century. Either way, it's in your spotlight on Now with Kimberly.
Now, the Tobago Regional Office, or the TRO, is now fully accepting online applications for their planning permission applications via Develop TT. And joining us to talk more about this is Ms. Janine Ratansingh, Research Officer 2 at the Town and Country Planning Division at the Ministry of Planning and Development. Mrs. Ratansingh has been at the Ministry of Planning and Development Town and Country Planning Division for over 12 years and has been acting head of the research unit since December 2018. She's currently the project lead for the Develop TT project. Mrs. Ratansingh, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us on Now.
Hi, good morning. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Now, tell us first about the Town and Country Planning Division, just some of the responsibilities that will fall under that unit.
Sure. So the Town and Country Planning Division is in charge of what we call planning permission. So before you build, you need planning permission. That is basically an application to the division. We have 4 offices, 3 in Trinidad, East, South, and North, and of course our Tobago Regional Office. And planning permission is what you need before you start to build. Once you get that planning permission, then you apply for something called a building permit, which gives you the okay to build. And once you're complete your building, you apply for something called a completion certificate. Now, all of that was a manual process. The Develop TT system has turned it into a digital process whereby you submit everything via the online system.
Right.
So you don't only submit, we also process, and you receive all your certificates via the system as well.
So when you have that planning permission document, is it like a drawing or something showing exactly what you plan to build?
Right. So it's basically a decision letter granted by the Town and Country Planning Division. And then we digitally stamp all your building plans, which you would have uploaded as well. And all the agencies that we may have conditioned via the process also have access to that.
Okay, good. And so now, is it that from the first, which was yesterday, all this is now going to be online? Is it that the Tobago office is no longer accepting those paper applications?
Correct. So in the manual world, you would have had to submit 4 manual copies of an application. So that's 4 sets of building plans, 4 application forms. So now you do one digital submission via the online system, www.developtt.gov.tt.
Yeah. What was the reasoning for, deciding to go fully online with this as opposed to the paper applications?
Right. So many studies were done. We have the Ease of Doing Business ranking, which ranks Trinidad and Tobago in the construction permitting process. And one of the things that came out of that study is that we want to improve Trinidad's ranking. And they focused on the Town and Country Planning Division. And, that's a very timely and costly process. So we're trying to cut down on the time spent at the Town and Country Planning Division. So a digital submission, the automation of the construction permitting process was done in order to cut that process in probably half the time.
Yeah. And what does this new system, or what do you think offers the Tobago population? Is it going to be a benefit? Do you think it might be a cultural shift for them to, make that transition from paper to online?
Oh, it's a definite benefit because you no longer have to physically visit any office. You don't have to, call to follow up on your application. You can actually log in, track your application. You get to see when it is moved at TCPD at different stages. You get to see when it is moved to any other agency and at different stages as well. So, and you don't even have to go in to get your stamped copies of anything. You just download it and you print it out. And you always have that copy digitally.
Yeah, but do you think the public will be accepting to something like that? Because, for example, in the banking sector, it's very difficult to get, especially the older folks, accustomed to direct deposit. They like to come into the bank, they like to deposit that check, they like that one-on-one interaction. So do you expect that sort of, a little bit of pushback from, everybody who will now have to transition to that online service?
Well, we've actually been online since 2020, and we get that question a lot. I don't think age should be a limit to using the system. The system is very user friendly. We have lots of tips to show you how to fill out the form. Everything could be done online, or you can physically visit an office. That's not limited as well. We have email support. We also have telephone support, to walk you through the process as well.
Right. So this is an online service that is launched. Well, it launched yesterday, but is it that you are still accepting the paper, or is it that for this particular e-service, it's only going to be online?
No, so no more paper submissions will
Right.
be accepted for planning permission. We also have other e-services online as well, and those are fully digital.
Right. Can we get into some of those services, and particularly the ones where the e-service is available, but there's also the option to walk in as well?
Sure. So for Town and Country, for all our regional offices, we have planning permission online. We have status of land correspondence, stamp duty correspondence, liquor license correspondence, and customs bonded correspondence. So all those are fully digital and you submit online. If you need any assistance in submitting an application, you may visit any of the regional offices in person, or you can email us at support@developtt.gov.tt, and we will try to assist.
Okay, nice. And as it relates to the planning permission, that particular one, is there a way that they have to go on to the site? Is there a website that they have to go to register?
Yes. So you go to www.developtt.gov.tt. On the top left-hand corner, we have a tab called How to Register. There is a detailed step-by-step PDF telling you how to register. You basically fill out a TT-Bizlink form, and you're selecting the e-development permit module. In brackets, we have Develop TT, and you fill out that form and you email it at any one of the emails listed on the form itself.
Right. And what are some of the agencies also involved in this process?
Right, so we have over 26 government agencies. For Tobago, we have the Division of Settlements, Land Management Division. So before, you would have had to physically go into this division to get your plan stamped, and then you apply to Town and Country. Now you submit to Develop TT, and then we will digitally send it to these two agencies to get it stamped, and then your application will be processed at TCPD. When it is completed at TCPD and approved, we can send it to Division of Infrastructure, we can send it to Public Health Tobago, and we can send it to CMWH Tobago. Some of the other agencies included and that have been online in Trinidad include like the EMA, IMA, National Trust, Fire Services, the list goes on.
Yes, of course. Now, just to confirm, is it that the unit has stopped accepting those paper applications for the planning permissions, or is there a particular cutoff date?
Right. So every Town and Country office is online now, and we no longer accept any paper submissions.
Right. Just wanted to confirm that. One of the things I was thinking about when you were mentioning the online, I know that sometimes because there's so many documents to submit, was there ever a time when maybe people were complaining that documents were being lost? And maybe that might have also led to, some of these services going online.
Yeah, so a paper submission can lead to that. We also have storage issues because, we have years and years of this historical data. So the Town and Country Planning Division also has a separate project called digitization, where we are digitizing those old files because our inspectors actually use those files when they're doing research on new submissions.
Right. And what other services you think, because I know that you mentioned you've been online for a while, but are there any other services that the unit is looking into making online? And, how do you think that rollout is going to go?
Right. So we have a few other e-services to be launched either later this year or next year. And that would be car rental, correspondence, our mining applications, and something new called variation submissions. So that's something to look forward to.
Yeah.
And then we also have a new feature on the system called online payments. So for agencies that do process a payment, we do hope to have that online. But of course, that will be coming in the future as well.
Yeah. Mrs. Ratan Singh, I have to go back to the point I'm making about, people trusting the online system, right? It is an issue. Yes, we want to go digital. The pandemic has taught us that. But there are some people who are really, really skeptical. And you just mentioned payment. And so how are you going to deal with that cultural shift again of, putting stuff like your credit card information, your address? I mean, how are you all going to address those issues when you start to offer that sort of online payment system?
Right. So the system was built with many of the security features built in. There are 3-tier security system. The consultants do provide this information. if you do not want to use the online payment, I do believe you can still do it offline and upload a relevant receipt. The site is very safe. We are not using your information for any fraudulent activities. We have our terms and conditions on the website as well. We have not had any instance of any illegal activities on the site.
Yeah.
And we also have security features on our letters that would assist if anything comes up.
Yeah. And of course, the flip side to that, Mrs. Ratan Singh, is the unbanked, right? The people who don't have credit cards, the ones who don't have a debit card, they fully believe in going into the bank, depositing those checks, withdrawing that money, that sort of thing. Are there any sort of suggestions for them, any sort of accommodation for when this site is launched?
Right. So the online payment will still accommodate that. You can still go into the bank, make a deposit. Once you have a receipt, there will be a facility to just upload that receipt as proof of payment.
Right. Now, I know we are talking about the Tobago, but anything we can look forward to in Trinidad in terms of online or even any other updates that's coming from the Town and Country division?
Right. So those e-services I just mentioned would be for all the 4 regional offices. So you have car rental, variation, and mining applications. So those will be coming soon, and advertisements to
Right.
all regional offices.
Yeah. Now, Mrs. Ratan Singh, I feel like people who are planning to build a house may know about Town and Country planning. And I was just wondering if the unit is looking at any sort of education drive to just inform the public about the importance of the unit, what it does, and how easy it is to use and access the services.
Of course, I would recommend following our social media pages, the Ministry of Planning. We usually post some tips and tricks about how to submit, but not only how to submit, about the application process itself. So, you can follow the Ministry of Planning. We're on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, all the social medias. If you're not on social media, feel free to send us an email at support@developtt.gov.tt, or, you can give us a call and we'll be happy to assist.
Nice. And final thoughts before we go?
Just visit the website, www.developtt.gov.tt. We don't only have information as to how to register, we actually have FAQs, which are very helpful as well. So feel free to reach out to that. We have a live chat feature on the website. If you have any questions, the live chat is live from Monday to Friday, 8 to 4.
Nice. Well, Mrs. Ratan Singh, thank you so much for joining us on the Now Morning Show. I think you gave us everything we need to know as it relates to the various divisions, both in Trinidad and Tobago. So thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. And that was Janine Ratan Singh, Research Officer 2 in the Town and Country Division at the Ministry of Planning and Development. You're on the Now Morning Show. We're going to take a break and be right back. Stay with us.
Morning, Mr. Fortune.
Hi, good morning.
Hi, good morning, Mr. Fortune. How are you today?
Hi, good morning. How are you? I'm good.
Wonderful. Thank you for asking. Good morning, Lisa Allen Agostini.
Hi, morning. How are you?
How are you, Lisa?